Family wants to move my wedding for their religion and tried to bribe me when I refused. My fiancé, 31, and I, 26, have been together for 5 years and engaged for 3. We set a wedding date, but had to postpone due to other financial responsibilities. We now have a set date for June 2025. We had a difficult time finding a venue, so the second we did, we made a deposit and set the date in stone. The date is what is the biggest issue with my family. So, for context, my family is extremely religious. I grew up in the religion and the second I turned 18, I left it. I live in the same town as my family and have not wanted to cut all ties, so I try to be as respectful of their beliefs as I can. They are against things like old jewelry, even wedding bands, strapless dresses and anything immodest and so on. Dancing, music and alcohol are also evil to them. Basically, all aspects of a wedding reception. I have even had emotional moments knowing that I will never have a father-daughter dance because my dad is so against it. Anyways, due to our schedule and many of our guests' schedule, our wedding will be on Saturday, which is my family's religious day. I have also paid the venue extra to reserve Sunday for cleanup so that people can return to work by Monday. I have gotten grief about this from all of my family, including my sisters, because they feel that this is breaking their religious day. This has been very irritating and one sister has been manipulative about it, but I got through it and thought that they had accepted it. Well, that was not at all the case. I will also point out that our wedding is entirely on my fiancé and I financially, and it is possible, but definitely a strain. Anyway, I got the invitations made and sent, and I received a text from my father. He asked, "Is there any way I could persuade you to change the date to Sunday?" I responded, "I'm sorry, but no." To which he replied, "Even for $2,000. I took this extremely offensive at first. Like, he was bribing me to change my wedding date, that he is able and willing to help financially, but only if it aligns with him. After cooling down, I gave a very diplomatic response telling him that I have already paid for the venue and this would not be possible. I also explained that I understand my family's beliefs and I know that they will not be able to help with setup or anything, and will be there only for the ceremony as I expect them to leave before the reception. I also told him that he could give a financial gift at any time for our wedding or honeymoon on the fund I set up. Quite honestly, I do not want any of my family at the reception because they will be uncomfortable and judging everyone the entire time. So am I the a-hole for turning down $2,000? It would help immensely. Should my family be welcome at my reception? Should I disinvite them altogether? Well, OP, I don't think you're the a-hole for turning down the money or being upset with your family. Frankly, I believe that if you do take that money, it's going to come with so many strings attached to it that it's going to make your wedding impossible. Definitely not worth all that. And if you believe that your family is going to make the ceremony and the reception hell, then just don't have them. The wedding is about you and your fiancé. The rest is just garnish. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section. And now let's check out the community comments. Pamela on the go says, "I don't think people appreciate how hard it is when your family is part of a cult. No dancing or moderate imbibing. It's not much of a party now, is it? You are just trying to have them present for the ceremony while still having a fun reception so you don't burn whatever bit of relationship you have left with them to the ground. I think turning down the money was the right decision, not the..." Invaluable says, "I come from a place where a wedding can stretch a few days. So here's a hot unpopular take. You've already reserved the venue for the Saturday-Sunday. Have the dancing part reception on a Saturday, but ask your dad to use that $2,000 to hire a cleaning person and set up a simple buffet-style brunch on Sunday for the rest of the family. Booze isn't allowed anyway, so it won't be expensive. That way, you can have the party you want and your religious folks can also celebrate your nuptials, not the whatever you decide. It seems like you are not interested in having your family around, but grudges over this type of exclusion last long and life has a way of making you need your family for support at some point. Is it really a hill you want to die on? Either way, it's up to you and you're not an ass for wanting your day your way. Good luck and congratulations." Basic Regret 6263 says, "No here. It's fair that you decided not to do a Sunday wedding because all the guests wouldn't want to party on a work night. It's fair that your family doesn't want a Saturday wedding for their own religious reasons and is even willing to chip in money to try and make that work. It's all fair that you don't think that the money is worth ruining a good Saturday night party for, and that any family members who can't bring themselves to show up on Saturday would have showed up miserable and judgmental about the party aspect of the event on Sunday. Sometimes different people want different things." Alright, the majority of the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and they gave her some suggestions on how to deal with this, but overall, not the a-hole for not accepting the money. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for the input and advice. This has been my first Reddit post and I'm not disappointed at all. Thank you again. So I feel like some background would help clear things up. So, yes, My family is Seventh-day Adventists. They are extremely conservative Seventh-day Adventists. Growing up, the church was considered too corrupt and worldly, so we had church at home. The only acceptable music is hymns. No drums, by the way. My dad feels very strongly about that. No makeup, Polish, jewelry, bottoms above the knee, spaghetti straps or tank tops, and so on. I was forced to have morning devotions and was not allowed to read any book that was fiction. I was also homeschooled, had really no social life at all. Sabbath is from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday, where I was not allowed to do anything that did not glorify God. Examples: jump on our trampoline, play with toys, etc. We would go enjoy the outdoors on Saturdays a lot, but it was a sin to spend money on Saturday. So all of the food had to be prepped beforehand and vehicles had to be full of gas already to do this. From about 10 years old, I started to really hate my life. I was lonely. My sisters are much older and weren't really around during my childhood. We were fairly poor, so my dad was gone working a lot. My mom was busy with other random things. A story for another time. And I was supposed to teach myself schooling and to be happy and a good Seventh-day Adventist, Ellen G. White believing person. I hated it all, so I started to rebel severely. My parents finally accepted letting me go to school, not to a school they could afford, but a private Seventh-day Adventist boarding school. I was so grateful and life got so much better, but still, I knew that I could not stay in the religion and began to live non-Seventh-day Adventist at 18. Life has given lots of twists and turns, and I've gone long periods without really seeing my family. I've lived back in the same town for 6 years now and have grown up a lot and learned to accept my family and their role in my life and all they have done for me. The best way they could or felt was the best way due to their beliefs. We are not particularly close and I keep a lot of my life from them as they would not approve. I just try to keep peace, be respectful in their presence and appreciate my time with them when it happens. This is not to say that I am perfect. I am not at all. I have hurt them plenty growing up and have had hatred at times. I do think I've grown up and I can see how much they have done for me, and I do appreciate them. I made a big mistake and eloped before. My family warned me that it would not end well, and I wish I had listened. So I have already been divorced and excluded them from a wedding. I do not feel like an elope and forget about this whole thing again as they do approve of this relationship and that would hurt them even more. I did not set my wedding date on Saturday despite them. I did it because it is the best for myself, my fiancé, and all of our guests aside from my family. I have explained to my family that I would love for them to attend and I have no expectation for them to break their beliefs and pay for anything or help in any way. I will also accommodate for their vegetarian diet if they choose to attend the reception. Now let's fast forward to today and the update. I spoke with my mom today. She is very kind and doesn't have a malicious bone in her body. She asked about the $2,000. I told her it felt like a bribe and was insulting, but I cooled down and tried to respond in the best way I could. She said my dad feels like me having a wedding on Saturday is like a slap to the face. I, again, explained my reasons, and it is not out of spite. She seemed to understand, but, unfortunately, she did try to then guilt me kind of. She started to talk about how many years my dad has slaved away, basically inferring that I owe them or him at least. I explained that while I am grateful and do what I can for them, I don't exactly owe my parents for providing for me and being parents. Anyways, I am sure some of you may still not agree with me on this and that is your prerogative. I think, unfortunately, this is going to be a difficult situation no matter what and something I have to continually deal with while wedding planning. On another note, I love all the Seventh-day Adventist reminiscing in irony and inconsistencies. It's a tough religion and there's some wild things in my family history for sure. Seventh-day Adventist trauma dump? Well, thank you all again. Well, OP, even though your mom doesn't have a malicious bone in her body or something like that, trying to manipulate you with guilt doesn't sound very nice. But it's still a good thing that you stood your ground. You were doing a lot to make sure your family can attend. Now if they don't want it because of their religion, like you said, it is their prerogative. So here's wishing you the best in the future, OP, and hopefully, you have a great wedding. Take care and thanks for sharing. Now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice and it's by user Mastered. My wife's 34 female, older sister, 37 female is crossing a line with me, 36 male. How would you handle this? I believe my wife's sister is attracted to me and I would like to address it before anything bad happens. I love my wife very much. I know she loves her family, but her sister is very flirtatious. She comes over often to help and dresses very revealing. A few nights ago, she came over for dinner wearing a crop top and tight low-waisted sweats. The whole night, she was asking me about this guy she had been seeing for the male opinion. I believe this is innocent, so I give her advice. She compliments me and then says my wife is lucky to have me. After dinner, as I am washing dishes, Her sister comes in to get something out of the fridge. Our kitchen is pretty small. So when she walks past me, she says, "Excuse me," but brushes her breasts across my back. While she was in the fridge, she was talking to me bent over. When she was about to leave, she pulled me to the side, thanked me for the advice, and apologized for brushing up against me like that. She said that sometimes she gets a little too touchy when she is comfortable. She also reminded me that she still needed help with her door frame and if I was still coming by. I told her I was still available to help. She hugged me and told me she couldn't wait. Ever since that night, she has been sending me texts asking about things around her house. She asked me about her microwave, her camera system, and her lights. She sends me pictures holding up an item she is referring to. In these pictures, she will be in the background with a bra on and boxer briefs. I can clearly see her breasts and thighs. She dresses very revealing in her house. This is new. She never used to text me. Anyway, last night, I helped her by talking through her microwave issue and she told me that my wife is so lucky to have me and that she wished she had a man that handy. I said thank you. She said that her sister always knew how to pick them right with a heart-eyed emoji. After this, I don't think I feel comfortable going to her house without my wife there, but I don't want to ruin my relationship with my sister-in-law. She is wonderful. I guess I should let my wife know, but that might hurt her. Well, it'll be the first thing I would do is show my wife everything. All of the text messages and the pictures and to tell her how uncomfortable I feel when her sister brushes up against me. Then I would talk to my wife about helping her sister out with her issues, and that if I do have to go, could she please come with me and just talk to her sister while I'm working on whatever it is she needs? Because I would definitely not go to your sister-in-law's house alone in case anything does happen. There are no witnesses. Maybe your sister-in-law is flirtatious with everybody. That doesn't mean you have to stand for it. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Blazing Sunflowerland says, "Do not help her anymore. Save your marriage. You need to make sure your wife knows what is happening so it doesn't appear that you were encouraging any of this. Quit responding to her sister. Tell her you aren't available to help and she needs to find someone else. She is counting on you hiding this from your wife. Don't do that. Let your wife know and tell her you don't want her sister to come over to your house anymore." Complete Design 5395 says, quote, "I don't want to ruin my relationship with my sister-in-law. She is wonderful," end quote. Okay, the longer you wait to talk to your wife about this, the bigger the chance of ruining your relationship with your wife. Isn't your wife wonderful? You talked up your sister-in-law so much I can't tell. You've done jack crap to put up boundaries with your sister-in-law. What's up with that, OP? You're 36. You know how to handle this, so do it. Big Red Royal Oak says, "Here's what you say to your wife. Your sister is making me super uncomfortable lately. She's giving me a weird vibe that probably means nothing, but I'd rather you run interference. She wants a lot of help around her place and I'm only helping if you're with me. Her compliments are repetitive and non-stop and I really think she's lonely. Please read her texts and tell me if I'm overreacting." And Environmental Fix 7829 says, "If you continue to not say anything, she can take it as you like it and that's why you haven't said anything to her sister yet. I could see this going south real fast. She may turn on you and tell her sister it's all you. She can say that you've been the flirtatious one and so on and so on. If you keep this going, then shut her down suddenly." To her, this can mean mixed signals. The community agrees that this is not a good scenario at all and OP needs to tell his wife what's going on. So now, let's move on to the update to see how the story ends. Thank you everyone. I told my wife today. My sister-in-law texted me last night when she knew my wife was out with her friends. She asked me what I would want to eat when I come help her and she can cook me something. This was suspicious, so I told her that I didn't need her to do that. She then asked me what I was doing and I told her nothing. She said she was planning to go shopping because she needs retail therapy. She then goes on to say that she hopes she can find something that fits since God cursed her with thick thighs. At this point, I left her on red and showed my wife everything. She told me that her sister has always been flirtatious with her man out of competition since they were kids and that she indeed noticed her flirting with me. My wife never read too much into it because she trusts me. I asked her if she wanted me to help her still. She told me that she trusts me and it's up to me as long as I block her number, so she can only reach out through her. I told her I don't plan on going because I feel uncomfortable. She understood and plans to talk to her sister about this. Thank you all. Well, OP, at least now your wife is in the know. And hopefully that conversation with your sister-in-law goes okay. In the meantime, take care, OP, and thanks for sharing. And now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user Prismatic Leviathan. Daddy, so this happened several years ago while I was working at Taco Bell and involves a pretty gross customer request. For those of you who don't know, Taco Bell asks for your name when taking an order so they can yell it out when your food is ready. One particular customer, A dude in his 40s wearing camo decided to abuse the rule. When asked, he told the cashier his name was Daddy. This isn't good in any situation, but the cashier at the time was a very young girl. I don't even think she was 18 and definitely not his actual daughter. Naturally, she goes to find the shift lead, Kevin, not his real name. Now Kevin is a lot of things and one of those things is gay. I'm trying to find the right words to say this without offending anybody, so I'll just say he really wasn't macho. We live in the Midwest, and I can guarantee he has been called more than one slur even before actually showing romantic affection towards another guy. I wasn't there for that part, but I've been told his reaction to what the creep was trying to pull was like handing a needle to a kid in a balloon store. When the food's ready, Kevin goes up to the customer and just belts out Daddy in exactly the tone you're imagining. Some people go silent, others start whispering, and the entire bag is just trying not to laugh. Daddy doesn't say a word, just marches up, gets his food, and leaves.